We're gonna start in 1 minute and 30 seconds. How y'all doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good? Let's go. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Oh boy. Oh man. Shalom family, how you doing? How you doing? All right. What's good, family? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Now, I made this video pretty much. I want to explain some things, right? So a lot of people have been telling me, "Oh man, why do you go through this stuff? Why don't you just comply with the rules and regulations? Why don't you just get a driver's license like the rest of us, pay insurance, pay taxes like the rest of us, right?" Because understand this one thing, right? But before I get to that, I do want to explain something, right? Purpose. So it wasn't for just to change my status just because, or just to do something because I seen somebody on YouTube. I had a real great reason of doing it due to the fact that I had a felony conviction, and that felony conviction caused me to be harassed by the police or be searched anytime they feel like, me, no situations like that. That's what really motivated me into changing my status. But is it for everyone? No. And so I want to really expound on that even deeply because people think just because I did it, that's the case for everybody. Everybody is not in that situation. Everybody don't have felony convictions. Everybody never been in prison. Most people haven't even went through that situation. So to them, it's like, hey, I don't got nothing to lose. Like I got everything to lose. You get what I'm saying? So if you got a clean record, you got your license, you got your registration, your family don't think like that. Of course, you're gonna follow the matrix. And especially, this another thing, especially when you know right from wrong. You get what I'm saying? Nobody have never told me a do not detain list is real. Nobody never told me the right to travel growing up. We was brainwashed into believing this matrix. Picture the average person going to the DMV, going to the Secretary of State, registering their vehicles and doing all of this, right? And they constantly involving themselves into commerce. Now you gotta act like they don't sit back and ask themselves, say, dang, why am I paying this company to register a vehicle to drive on private land, and why am I paying taxes on the vehicle that I paid for? You get what I'm saying? But it's just the lack of knowledge that most people have, and that lack of knowledge causes a lot of people to perish. And so, since we don't know about right to travel, since we don't understand our constitutional rights, we continue to follow the matrix. And that's another reason why I changed my status, because I didn't want to be normal. I didn't want to be the regular person who just followed the corporate system. Especially when you're looking at our supreme law and the supreme constitution and what it says, because a lot of state statutes, a lot of state codes, a lot of state regulations is always conflicted with the United States Constitution. The same way you got a new Supreme Court case came out, the United States versus Buren, right? And so, oh no, was this it? Yeah, this was about the New York, where it said New York don't have to have a permit to carry a gun. You get what I'm saying? Because they wanted to make it unconstitutional to even have a gun in New York, but the Supreme Court shut down that state statute. So many statutes and many rules and regulations is constantly conflicted with the common law. Now, the common law always been set up where, you hurt a man, you damage a man property, you take from a man, you steal from a man, you have committed a crime. Because anytime you got an actual plaintiff uh, claiming that you did a crime or you brought harm to an individual, something like that, you have committed a crime because there's an actual plaintiff. But today's time, the actual plaintiff is the corporation, the state, and they can't actually bring a live witness to come to court to say that you have done any crime, other than the fact that these are statutory codes that they are prosecuting you under. Whether you've been caught with a gun, whether you've been caught with drugs, whether you've been caught with marijuana, these are inter-party crimes. And these are all classified as commercial crimes that's been enacted by the state legislation. You get what I'm saying? So the state legislation has all control over commerce. You get what I'm saying? So that's what that stuff came about, and many of us have signed our whole life over, and we pretty much waived our own rights when it came to following this corporate system. So many of us took our CCLs, got our concealed carry license, and we thought, oh well, since I got my gun license, I can carry a gun. You been could carry a gun, but the state legislation and the state that you in try to prevent you from bearing arms. You get what I'm saying? So why the Second Amendment says this, but we have to have this condition or these statutes in place that's constantly infringing on the rights of the people. You get what I'm saying? So, it's a big risk to going about living in the private. It's a big risk and to change your status because remember, you going against the system. But let me hold on. But look, let me also explain. A person was like, bro, you can get shot doing this. You get shot by the police. You know that if sovereign citizens conduct yourself plays a big role when you're dealing with a traffic stop. Well, the reason why there's never been real controversy with me, I've never been choked out, at least, or strangled or anything, is because I know how to conduct myself well. When the police come to me, I don't talk over arrogant, being in these videos, and they don't have a common decency for the next human being. So when I see a police, I'm, hey, so how you doing? Because acting very, like childlike. Oh, I know my rights. Please, you can't do anything to me. The Constitution, like, we haven't even established anything yet. You just went right from A to Z. So you haven't even show him that you have proper conduct. You know what I'm saying? And so since they see you don't conduct yourself correctly, and they see that you acting like an animal, that's why you're gonna be on that show Van Valiant. People getting dragged out the car, people getting choked, strangled, and their eyeballs coming out their head because it's the way they carry their conduct. They're not conducting themselves correctly, right? So that's one thing you got to look into. Another thing, what is your purpose of being a national? You get what I'm saying? What is your real purpose? So if you want to be a national because you see us doing it, like, that's a reason, but that's not much of a reason other than the fact where if you say this, I want to be a national because I want to exercise my constitutional right to travel without obtaining any permission slip by any state legislation or or anything like that, then it makes sense. Or if a person say, hey, I want to be a national because I want to continue my right to keep and bear arms, and I don't want my rights to be infringed, and I feel as though I am not required to have any license that's subjected by the state. That's a good reason. Or, if a person just say, I want to do it because I think it's cool. Nah, because it's still education that plays a part in this. It's still, you have to constantly study. And on top of that, it's trials and tribulations. Anything can happen. Because every traffic stop ain't going to be the same. You know, most people be telling me, oh man, why they stop you so long? If you was on the do not detain list, it's supposed to be swoof. No, not true at all. Actually, I know do not detain list stops where it lasted over an hour. I know do not detain list stops where it lasted 5 minutes. And I've been in both scenarios. I've been in a scenario where I was stopped an hour and a half, and I was in a scenario where I was stopped for only 2 minutes. No, 3 minutes tops. You get what I'm saying? So the officers I was dealing with, it was two kinds of officers. One officer never experienced it. One officer was curious about it. One officer was trying to overstep. Many different situations because every officer is not the same. You can have a good day, or you can have a bad day, but you have to be able to react and respond to whatever come your way. You have to be able to react and respond to whatever come your way, whether it's a good officer, whether it's a bad officer, whether it's an officer who don't care about the Constitution, whether it's an officer that cares about the Constitution. You might have those small few that actually curious about this and want to learn, like some of the officers that I came in contact with, and you can have the ones that say, "Hey, I want to arrest this guy because he think he's above the law." You get what I'm saying? But regardless or not, you still have to have a fight. And then you might be in situations where you go to jail. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna explain it the best way I can by saying this. Now, the reason why some people might get arrested, right? Let's just say when police decide to overstep, the same videos that I made before still applies to right now. For those who already live in their native state, let's just say if you from Nebraska, let's just say if you live in Nebraska, I mean you from Nebraska and you still live in Nebraska. Now, even though you came across this information, even though you are on a do not detain list, even though you have surrendered your contracts, this is one thing that we forget. Once we surrender the contract, yes, we don't have it no longer, but the sheriffs in that state can still gain access to the Secretary of State database. And what the officer usually do is they would charge you on the old instruments that they used to have. So the old ID card, the old driver's license, and that's what they use in order to bond over the case. You get what I'm saying? So that was one of the main things that they actually would use, and you got to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared for it because you got to think like, okay, they can really go after me. These people can really come after me because they got old contracts. Now, I'm not saying you can't fight it. Of course you can fight it. Of course you can win. But it's still like, okay, you still got contracts within your old state. Because remember, you didn't know this stuff, but you tied yourself in and you gave yourself a permanent contract with the state the moment you ever receive an ID. You get what I'm saying? So the first time you ever receive the ID, that is a permanent lifetime contract. Now, fast forward it, right? I'm from Illinois. Even though I canceled all my contracts with Illinois, the state troopers still have access to my old files. Now that's only when I'm in Illinois. Now fast forward it, I'm in Texas. I get pulled over by a trooper. He has no information on me. He has no identification cards on me because when you surrender your license in another state, the other state over do not have access to the Secretary of State within your original state files because that is a surrendered document. Now, have it would have been that document was still open. Like let's just say if it was let's say if it was expired, but not surrendered, or let's just say if it was valid but not surrendered, the officer would be able to get it, right? But they can't get it because it's been surrendered, right? So keep that in mind. Now, when I got pulled over, he couldn't find no information. So he like, hey, do you have contracts in any other state? Like, no, sir, I don't have any contracts. You never obtained any contracts? No, I have not. Okay. So what he was doing is he trying to find something that he can lock you in with because you got to understand, usually the usually the ID is what they use in order to bond over any case, and that also connects to all your personal information, whether that be your name in public records, whether that be your social security number and everything, because it's just your name and date of birth can't be used when they try to issue a warrant for your arrest. Because remember, criminal warrants goes on the driver's license or state ID. So anytime you are issued a warrant, not only do the court issue a bench warrant, but that bench warrant has to go to the Secretary of State. Now, once they receive the bench warrant from the Secretary of State, that your name, your ID number is in the public database. So anytime the police come across you, they will put the warrant on their ID. So once they get that ID and in their possession, oh, sir, you got a warrant for your arrest. Put your hands behind your back. You get what I'm saying? So you got to be very careful for that. So your original contracts with the native state that you are originally from will never go away. Now, can you still travel? Of course, I still drive in Chicago without a license. That stuff don't faze me. Soon I got arrested in Illinois. I got off all of my bond conditions, and I went right back to the road and traveled. Nothing happened. Got a state trooper came behind me, but they didn't pull me over because I got a new tag, y'all, on my other car. But I'm not gonna show you guys the tag because I think it's so many agents that just be watching everything I post. So I got to be mindful of that too. But yeah, I travel and everything, but I'm just very careful, when I'm bearing arms and everything because um, uh, I'm from a Democratic state. I'm not from the Republic state of Texas or the great Republic of Mississippi. I'm from a Democratic state, right? One of the worst states you can possibly be from. But yes, your original state, they do in fact have contracts on you. Now these contracts can be surrendered, but they cannot be deleted, and that's one thing that we have to understand. They can't be deleted, but they can be surrendered. But Usually, if you haven't got any new contracts, they just use that if you are still in your native state. But me, I have no plans on living in my native state. Never did have plans on living in my native state. In every state that I went to after that, I never obtained a driver's license or a state ID within the new state that I'm in. I would never grab a Texas ID. I would never grab a Florida ID. Those are contracts. Those are not identification cards. Those are contracts. Why do you think when he pulled me over and he couldn't use my passport on the ticket? That's because the passport is not linked to their government database. Their government database is the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State is the one who is responsible for issuing out driver's licenses and state IDs. You get what I'm saying? So the Secretary of State, they are responsible for it, and the Secretary of State is the one who, you know, have all of your information, your name, your first name, last name, your driver's license number, your state ID number, you know. But, it's risk to it. It's not easy. It's not easy for everybody. I found it easy because I got a passion for it. I really have a passion for it. I got a passion for understanding the Constitution. I got a passion for exercising my rights. I have a passion for it. I have a deep passion for it. So it don't feel like a burden to me. It's not a burden because when you know better, you do better. Because you take advantage and control of everything. I take control of my criminal cases. I take control of your everything, your finances. You take control of your freedom. You get what I'm saying? It's totally different. Yeah, you still can buy a car from a third party seller, but it's a lot of risk with going ahead and correcting your status. Now, if you guys do want to correct your status, let's just say if you want to start, right? One thing I would say, it depends on the situation. I'm gonna explain it to you guys like this. Um, if you are a convicted felon, the conditions that you have is going to be very, very hard than anyone else, because you might say, oh, I thought if you were national, they delete your name in public records. No, because they don't look at public records when they search your name. They look through the Secretary of State database and they got your name, because remember, if you was arrested or convicted in your current state, that county have your criminal conviction rap sheet. So they don't have to look through public records or look through E-Verify to look at your background information. That's not true at all. They look through the Secretary of State files and they can see that you've been arrested in your state. But let's just say this, right? You are a convicted felon or you've been convicted of a crime, right? But let's just say, hey, I want to bear arms. Now you can bear arms, but it's very more tedious. Why? Because by you bearing arms, it's fine. But the only thing about it is, even though you surrender your contracts, they still might try to make the presumption that you are a resident, and they also will try to make the presumption that you still live there. That's why they will try to use an old identification to change, to try to bring forth jurisdiction. But in many cases and circumstances, there's always ways you can go about it, right? So, if you in a situation where you do have a record, all I would say is you got to be way more careful. You have to be very more cautious if you decide to bear arms. But if you don't decide to bear arms and you say, hey, I'm gonna keep my gun in my house, and every time I travel, I'm not gonna carry. Okay, cool. So you have less load, right? But let's just say you have a clean record. You never been convicted. You never had any problem. You never had any ties with the system. Now it becomes easier because now you can bear arms and you can travel, but you don't have to worry about the external factors of it. You get what I'm saying? So for me, the pressure is way more higher because it's like, okay, you got in trouble with the law, so now they got your name, your information. Now they can use that against you, right? Now the person who has a clear record, he don't have to worry about anything that he has attached to him as much as the other guy. So it's still risk factors with changing your status, with correcting your status. You get what I'm saying? And so you have to be a person that truly have a passion for it. You really got to have an understanding of it, and they really got to own it. You got to have some sort of drive for it, because if you don't have no type of drive for wanting to correct your status, wanting to live in a private, then I really would say you're just wasting your time. You better off living as a U.S. citizen, because living as a U.S. citizen not bad, but the only thing about it, they not looking with their third eye. They just looking at the real. Oh yeah, You're not looking through your third eye. They're not seeing everything that's going on. They're not understanding how this world works. They're not understanding how the federal United States took over America, and they, try to twist and turn the United States Constitution. So in many ways, it's still a battle. We're still in the battlefield. Still to this day, even if, well, the do not detain list is real, the Department of State is issuing this, they issuing that, but it's still a battle every day. Every time I walk out the house, I always think, okay, it's today gonna be that day. You get what I'm saying? Every day, it's today gonna be that day. Okay, we get in the house safe. Now the next day, it's today gonna be that day. You gotta think, because remember, you not fighting just to travel. You fighting for your rights. You're not fighting just to have a gun. You fighting for your right to bear arms. Because the moment we allow this government to allow us to be to allow our rights to be regulated, we no longer have rights. That means we have privileges. Because anything that is regulated is not a right. Like, check this out. You breathing, right? That's a right. You walking. That's a right. You have a yard, you picking out your grass. That's a right. You have arms. You bear arms. That's a right. If I say you have to have a license to breathe, is that a right? That's a privilege. If I say you have to have a license to touch your grass, is that a right or a privilege? That's a privilege. If I say you got to have a license to walk down the street, is that a right or a privilege? That is a privilege. Because what we fight for as this country, you fighting for your independent sovereignty. So this nation was really independent sovereignty. It's not necessarily a sovereign citizen. These are Americans who are fighting for their individual rights. And the more we allow this democratic government to take over, we're going to lose our rights. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not even in the Republican Party. I look at a republic form of government where we operating off our rights. We operating off common law. We operating off the Constitution. And one of the main things that stick out to me is bearing arms. Because if you don't have arms, you will not have the necessity, you will not have the military in order to fight off any evil that come your way, any government come your way. You get what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that everything is intact. No, they haven't took our rights. They converted our rights. They haven't taken them. They converted them. The moment everybody decide that we're going to get a gun license, that's when you agree that you are a slave. The moment we agree that we're going to get a driver's license and we got the right to travel, the moment we are slaves. You get what I'm saying? Because you become a slave. Because you accept the privilege and you're not exercising the rights. You get what I'm saying? So rights have to be exercised. Rights just can't be assumed. A right just can't be given to you. A right just don't come down like this. Rights have to be exercised in a society like this. All rights have to be exercised. Because if you don't exercise your rights, then you allow for privileges to take effect. And that's why everybody copped out. A lot of people said, Skipping, I don't care about that. I'm just going to get me a driver's license. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with the police. I'd rather comply. Then that's you. You chose slavery. But the ones who want to be free, they said, nah, we see another route. We see where we really can go with this. We see how far this can go. And most of the people that y'all see talk against us, oh, this sovereign citizen talking about traveling. But not one person that you ever seen said I'm a sovereign citizen. Not one person. But they call us sovereign citizens. But you got to understand, the rhetoric that we're using is the original language and the context on how the United States of America Constitution was made. So when we bring up certain amendments or certain things or in the Constitution that's referenced on our activity, that's when they want to call us sovereign citizens, like I told you. The agents and the liberals is trying to take down the country and trying to take away the organic version of the United States Constitution. Because as long as they can take away our rights, that's when everything go down. But don't get me wrong, I'm not going to necessarily say entirely everybody think this way, because it just depends on what part of the United States are you at. Now, for my beliefs, right? For what I believe in politically, if I believe in the right to bear arms, why would I live in the state of New York? That'd be one of the stupidest things that I can ever do. live in the state of New York. Or let's just say if I decide to live in California. That would be stupid. Why? Because California is a democratic state and a democratic controlled state. So the republic form of government don't exist there. The right to bear arms don't exist there. The right to protect your home don't exist there. The right to protect yourself don't exist there. Why? What state would be similar that I can move to that I can kind of somewhat exercise my rights? It would be the states that I prefer, like Texas, South Carolina, and etc. But I'm not telling you to move, but I'm just saying what state kind of stand behind some of the principles that you might agree with. You get what I'm saying? So it depends on what state that that kind of align with your views, kind of align with your beliefs and everything. Because you can't live in no democratic state following what I'm talking about. It'd be stupid to live in a democratic state. It'd be stupid. Now I'm not like it don't really matter how it works, but I'm just saying the full fledged of everything. I never wanted to live in no democratic state following what I follow. Never. Not in a million years. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, everybody, follow my man A6 Grand Time. This is another brother who is a national. His name A6, like the letter A6 Grind Time all together. Grind. GRIND. And you got time TIME. So Grand Time. Yeah, GRIND. Okay, yeah. His name A6 Grind Time. Follow A6 Grind Time. If y'all see him, follow him. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, family, that's how it is. You want to make sure that before you take this leap of faith and you wanna jump in and you want to be a national, you want to be free. And it's a lot of things though. Like it's a lot of risk in it. Because it's the way you think, it's the way you act, it's the way you conduct yourself. Because if you say, hey, I don't want no driver's license within the state or no contracts, you might say, or some people might say, what if I want to rent a car if I go out of state? What you have to do is, I'm about to go back to take me a trip back to Africa, and I'm about to grab me a national driver's license in the state. In the country out there in Tanzania that I went to. And in Tanzania, you can buy you a driver's license and you can claim residency out there. But I'm not gonna live out there. But I only get that to rent cars. But if the police ever stop me, just show them my passport. I wouldn't even show them my driver's license. I'll show them my passport. Yep. 86 grand. Yep. Hey, how you? I can't pin it. I don't even know how to do it. Okay, but yeah. If you want to do something like that, go to a foreign country and get you a foreign driver's license. When I back cars, I usually just use my international driver's license. I don't have to use the foreign driver's license. So when you hit this how this look, I showed you guys this before. You can back car with this. I already done it before. I bought my Ram with an international driver's license. But I use that and I use my passport. So those are two, dang. So those are two IDs I had. Hold on. You see this? You see this? Right here. That's my international driver's license. That just so they can allow you to drive off the lot. They don't give a damn, honestly. Especially if you don't get financed by them. Like, say if you go through your own bank and stuff, they have to let you drive off. They don't care. As long as you show up with that check with that money, they don't care what you got. You can have a handmade driver's license where you write your name in the boxes. They don't care. As long as they get paid, they're gonna let you drive off that lot. And when I drove off with my Ram for the first time, when I purchased it, what I did was I told them they tried to give me temporary tags. I said no, give me my I said put my private tags on there. And once I put my private tags on, I ain't never got stopped in Florida with those. Never. Police been behind me before in Florida and literally ran my plates multiple times, like 5 different officers and the state troopers got behind me and they never pulled me over. Cause that was kind of like you representing your state, you representing Florida. So since I'm out here in Texas, I'm thinking about getting the Texas native plates. I'm just trying to find it. I'm giving me some Texas native plates. Yeah, and when I go to Illinois, give me some Illinois native plates. I've been looking for, I just couldn't find it. Out of all this time, out of all this time, I just couldn't find it. But yeah, family, it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of reward to it because being free, being sovereign, it's a great feeling when you can just drive off and you knowing they're not going to arrest you. It's a great feeling when you know you exercising your rights and you standing on business. It's a good feeling where you ain't gotta adhere to. Like, I'm gonna tell you something, right? When you sovereign, you save way more money. It's so much money is being paid on insurance. It's so much money that's being paid on registration. It's so much money that's paid on tickets, stuff like that. I don't even have to worry about that because my truck, when I first got it, they told me my insurance policy would cost $6,000 a year, over $6,000 a year for my insurance policy. Can you imagine paying $6,000 a year for the hopes and beliefs or the maybe of getting in an accident? I never in my life been in a car accident. Like, far as me driving a car, I've been in a motorcycle accident, but as far as like me driving a car, I never been in a car accident ever in my life. I ain't saying it can't happen, but I'm saying I never have been in one. But it can, but it's just like $6,000 for the hopes of you getting in an accident. But so, you know, with that being said, people get tickets. Some people get $1,000 worth of tickets a year. Really, 1,500 if you want to count the tickets when they just take a picture of your car because you might take off from the red light too fast or something like that. That's another 100. So you paying the revenue agents close to $8,000-9,000 a year. Registration, yearly registration. Why am I registering my private vessel? Like this is I don't know, like this is a corporation or something. I'm registering a private car. I see if I was registering a 16-wheeler or registering the airplane. We register in our corporation. We constantly following a corporate. Yeah. But like I said, we lost all of our rights. When everybody decided to get them driver's license, them gun cards and everything like that, we lost every constitutional right that we had. Every last one. We lost all of our rights. And it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep happening. Appreciate it, fam. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's what happened when you sign up and you've been a part of this whole monopoly game that they've been playing on us. But like I said, it comes with risk. So if you want to be free, you got to ask yourself, are you escaping the matrix? Is your family on board? Now, I'm going to be real. If your wife, right, she can be with it, you got to make sure that she at least with it. Even if she decides to get contracts later or whatever, make sure that she's with it. Like, so anytime that if you following it full-fledged, when she's with you, she know that she can do it. But if she say, hey, I don't feel safe doing it when you not around, you have to allow a person to get that space and you got to allow them to build up however they going to build. You get what I'm saying? Because everybody have their own journey with it, but you still want to make sure that they on board with the idea. Okay, if the police come here, you don't do nothing. You don't hand him any state contracts. You remain silent at all times. Let me handle it. Perfect. That's how it's supposed to be done. And so since you're in a situation like that, your whole family got to be on board. Everybody got to be on board. The children have to be on board. Everyone got to be on board. The last stop that I was just in, I was in the car, wife was in the car, kids was in the car, mother-in-law was in the car. She wasn't even worried because she know what's going on. She know exactly what's going on. She went to sleep in the car. She wasn't worried because at the end of the day, I stand on this. I stand on this for real. And that's how you got to be. You got to stand on your rights. All I don't want to go to jail. You ain't ready to be free. If you're scared of jail, you're not ready to be free. If you're scared of something might happen to you, you're not ready to be free. If you're scared of anything like transpiring, you're not ready to be free. Freedom come with a fight. Freedom come with a fight. It don't come with no, oh, well, I want to be free the easy way. Go get a driver's license. That's the easiest way to become free because it's submission. It's submitting to conquest. Do you think the Native Americans, right? Let's just say when they was colonized by Christopher Columbus, right? Let's just say when the natives were colonized. Like, let's just say they got their land, they own this, they own that. Let's just say if Christopher Columbus them came, they ruled over the natives. And they told the natives, say, yeah, man, you guys can still live here, just pay us tax. What do you think the natives would think? You think what if the Navy? You think the Navy's gonna say, yeah, we should just pay tax? We just want to take it the easy way. Let's just pay tax. No, they're gonna fight for their rights because they say this is our land. We found this land first, so you got to kill all of us. So that's the type of mentality you got to have coming into this type of ideas. Because if you're not thinking like that, militant, if you're not thinking that, dang, okay, I want to do this, I got to do that, then you're not ready for it. Your best bet is just to comply with the system and obey your government and pay these tax dollars so we can keep this banking system moving. I've been saying that since my last video. Because the ones that's following all the rules, obeying the government, taking the vaccines, these are the ones that keeping them in power. And the rest of us is rebelling, going and doing this, doing that. But it's like that, and that's exactly what's happening to us. That's exactly what's happening to us. We lost all of our rights. Every ounce of our rights went down the drain. Yep, we lost our rights to the liberals. Yeah, we lost our rights. But you gotta fight for it. But back to what I was saying, right? You gotta be able to you gotta be able to know how to respond, but you also have to be in a position where you saying that you can't fear what can happen to you as far as going to jail. Many people got that in the back of their minds because I had students came to me and they was like, man, I don't want to go to jail, man. I don't want no problems. I don't want to get in trouble, dude. I just want, like, what? Like honestly, I don't think this, like, you're kind of lame. Like, I know your best bet is just to enjoy the videos. The content that I put out is entertaining. To some people, it's entertaining. Like, oh my God, he said the United States of America Republic. Let's see what happens next. You get what I'm saying? But the ones that on the battlefield and they fighting for it and they exercising their rights and they not contracting with the state and they not submitting to conquest, these are the ones, the real soldiers that want their freedom. And they want their freedom so bad that they'll die for it. So if you're not in that type of mindset, you a slave. And not in a bad way saying like, or someone try to put you down, but you a slave in a sense where you submitted to conquest. You submitted. Yeah, you submitted to conquest. And anybody who submits to conquest, especially if you're a man, I can understand if a woman not doing it, but a man, you have to, if you stand on it, you got to stand on it. You got to stand on it. You got to stand on it. You got to stand on your rights. Can't be scared. Oh, well. They say you going to jail. Where my bed at? Y'all know, I'm going to tell y'all something. The night I actually got arrested, right? Let's just say I got arrested for the gun. You want me to tell you what I was thinking when I went in there? What? Like you want me to tell you what I was thinking? I went straight to sleep. I asked the officer some questions, and I went straight to sleep in there. I woke up, and nothing. Didn't feel nothing. Because it was something that I expected. But I knew I was going to get out the situation. I wasn't worried, and the judge told me, I'm going to put you on house arrest, and I got out the situation. You got to find a way to get out, too. Even though we battling and we in this field for freedom, and we in this fight for freedom, we still got to find a way. I'm going to find a way. That's how you got to think the whole time. I got to find a way. And I know all these trolls and everybody who go against us, these are liberals. These are enslaved people. You can remember when the vaccine first came out and he was forcing everybody to take it, and everybody was forcing the kids to take it, and everybody was scared. Those are the people that they gonna kill first. Those are the people that are gonna get slaughtered first because it's easier because they already controlled by the system. They already controlled by this matrix, this whole matrix. So once you're in a position where you ain't controlled by these people and you dominate, you militant, and you against everything that they throw your way, yeah, you a special kind of person. And they know you a die behind it. So that's how you got to think. You a national, you a national, you claim this, you claim that. You get what I'm saying? You got to die behind it. Explain the gun situation. Oh, so basically I was charged as an armed habitual criminal. They upgraded my charges. So once I went to bond, so my original court date, I was just charged as a UUW by felon. But when they found out I had 2 convictions, they charged me as an armed habitual. But they haven't charged me as an armed habitual until later. So when I went back to court, I want to say fast forward to September 11th, when I went to court, this was for the preliminary hearing. So when we went through the preliminary hearing, I cross-examined the officers. But at the same time, the states wanted the judge to increase the bail, right, due to the ammunition that was caught in the car. There was so much ammunition. So the officers told the judge, say, hey, we want to increase the bail. So when the judge heard both arguments between me and the states, remind you, at that time, another judge, the bond judge, was the one who put me on house arrest. Now, house arrest usually is a condition to the end of your case. So you have to be on house arrest to the end of your case. So when I went through preliminary, when I cross-examined the officer, I kind of almost made him admit that there was no probable cause for the search, because I'm gonna tell y'all something. A search incident to arrest was not probable in that case, because I'm gonna tell you, when an officer take you outside of the vehicle and they handcuff you and put you in a secure area and take you away from the car, at that time they cannot search the vehicle. And it wasn't an inventory search, because the officer admitted that this was a search incident to arrest, not an inventory search. So under Arizona versus Gant, in that case, that's what gave me the remedy. So the judge said, I heard both parties and I heard both sides. And so based off the circumstances in this case, your motion to increase bail is denied. And they said your motion to release bail conditions, which would be take me off the house arrest and move and go back to Texas, was granted by the court because of those conditions. Now, how it would have been, I was smoking in the car, I was doing some reckless stuff, I had liquor, open alcohol, then the judge would have said, okay, there was probable cause in that search, but it wasn't probable cause. That's why he took me off the bail conditions. So that's what happened with my case. So right now, to finish off the case, all I got to do is file a motion to suppress evidence and squash arrest, and I beat the whole case just like that. But after that, it was just a fight. It was just a fight. That's all it is. I was a little worried, but at the same time, I'm like, we gonna win regardless, whether we go through state court or whether we go through federal court. Whichever one, we still gonna win. Traveling as a company is cool. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that, but that ain't really private. That's just you traveling with your corporation. That's not really private. You're not exercising your constitutional rights. You're just doing everything a little different, which is better. Is also, a decent remedy if you don't want too much conflict. But if you're in a situation where you're just traveling by yourself, you should have the right to travel. But if you want to drive under LLC, you can do that as well. All right, but fam, I'm out. Peace and love to all of y'all. Hope y'all have a good night, y'all. My phone number, if you ever want to contact me for any process or anything, my phone number is 224-463-1848. Again, my phone number is 224-463-1848, family. Just get this knowledge, y'all. Get this knowledge, get some understanding, get some wisdom, y'all. I'm out. Peace and love.